If I was to tell you 10 years ago that the DVD rental service Netflix would become one of the giants of film distribution and fundamentally change the way we watch movies, you probably would have had a hard time believing me. If I had gone back in time and told myself this, I would have laughed. But that, of course, is exactly what has happened. The game has been fundamentally changed. Netflix has worked its way into the homes of millions in the last couple of years, with over 109 million users worldwide. Whereas previously, retail giants and rental stores tried to sell hard copies of a film and only stock a certain number of films depending on what would sell well for them, acting as a secondary market for films which had finished their run in cinemas, Netflix's transformation in the digital age, along with the rise of several copycats, has allowed for a wide range of films to be stored and viewed at the touch of a button, wherever and whenever you want, so long as you have an internet connection. What this has done is transform the home video market from an aftermath of the cinematic experience into a legitimate competitor for audiences, and it shows when we look at the cinemas. Prices for tickets have always increased with currency inflation, but in recent years, movie tickets have far exceeded the rise in currency and have become more expensive for no reason other than increased profits. This has been done to combat the dropping in overall ticket sales in the last couple of years, creating an artificial business growth despite the loss of customers. And it would appear that many of these customers have moved over to the flourishing streaming market, where their needs are being more accurately satisfied. I'm a huge fan of cinema. I love going out and experiencing the film on the big screen with professional sound systems. If a director like Christopher Nolan or Quentin Tarantino has made a film in a particular style and has a certain way they would prefer people watch their movies, like IMAX or traditional 70mm, I will go out of my way to find special screenings for those movies. But I can't deny that I'm in the minority when it comes to viewing choices for the total audience. I cannot deny that cinema is slowly waning in popularity and that people aren't as thrilled by the experience as I am. In the wake of these events, I have set out to try and answer two questions. Mainly I am asking, what is the impact of streaming on the future of cinema? And consequently, what does this mean for us as an audience? I am not including piracy options of any kind in this investigation, as it is not a sustainable audience practice and would send film creators bankrupt, leaving any viewing option obsolete. I went and conducted a survey to try and get into the minds of the general populace, asking about streaming subscriptions, hours spent on services, and most importantly, asked each individual to express what they believed were the pros and cons of each viewing option. So let's crunch the data. When asked how often they go to the movies, a staggering 2/3 of all people voted monthly, while yearly and other options such as once every quarter or whenever friends were interested received 14% each. Weekly, which had its own designated option, was selected by less than 5% of all respondents. 1/3 of all people surveyed did not have a streaming subscription. However, nearly half were subscribed to Netflix alone, with other streaming services making up the remaining 20% of votes. When it comes to total hours spent streaming, about 1/3 of people streamed 5 to 10 hours a week, with 1 to 2 hours also being popular at 29%, while the other extreme of 15 plus hours received 15% of the votes as well. Freaking addicts. However, when people were asked if they preferred to watch films in the cinema or on streaming services, the cinema won out with a 57% majority to streaming's 43%. All of this data seemed to contradict itself a bit at first. If so many people were only going to the movies once a month, but streaming hours could be measured in numbers per week, how could the cinema be preferred over streaming? The answer came in more qualitative data. It simply wouldn't be practical to show every response in this video, but some major themes began to rise very quickly when analysing them. When it comes to the pros, the major themes for cinema were experience and quality. And for streaming, it was comfort and convenience. The cinema is the place to go if you want that state-of-the-art surround sound, the opportunity of watching something with a large audience and participating together, and the opportunity to go out and maybe shop or grab a meal after the film. Meanwhile, streaming gives you a far larger readily available library, and it works around your schedule. You don't operate around it. You could watch it in your room, out in the lounge room, in the kitchen, or possibly through mobile and on the go. Of course, both options have their downsides too. The key drawbacks for cinema were price and effort. while for streaming it was a lack of quality and a promotion of antisocial behaviour. Another important factor was that cinema still has the edge with first access to new movies, where streaming services have to wait for a cinematic run to end. So what does this all mean? Streaming is undeniably taking business away from cinemas, but I don't think it is as drastic as some people would have you believe. Most people who use Netflix either don't go to the movies that much anyway, or simply didn't go to begin with. In fact, film as a whole is probably stronger because people now have the resources to go back and find any old movie with relative ease, and be more educated and inspired by films. This isn't so much two different platforms competing with one another, as it is two platforms complementing one another. It appears you cannot replace the cinema for the sheer spectacle of seeing a film on opening night, or for the quality of which the creators wish you would view the film in. But streaming services offer a cheaper and more convenient alternative that, while still lacking a bit in quality, has a substantial library and can keep you occupied for days on end. Ultimately, it comes down to a choice. Would you rather fork out your hard-earned money and see that movie the moment it comes out in the best possible format in the company of others, or get a month's subscription for the home experience and wait a couple months for the same film, whilst having a whole backlog of others to watch in a reasonable quality and with the privacy and convenience it comes with? Or maybe, just maybe, we can have both. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching that video. If you enjoyed content like this, I'd really appreciate if you could hit that subscribe button and you'll get more of it. We have a Facebook page you can check out as well. This was a bit of a different video. This is one I actually did for a university assignment, but it's also the kind of video I'd like to do more of. So if you want to comment some feedback for me, I'd really appreciate that, and I guess I'll see you next time. Bye!